This is Christine Valor, and I am the Dating Diva. So I met this guy through friends, actually years ago, and he's been a long-time acquaintance. And I remember about 5 years ago, we'd gone out to dinner once, and it just hadn't really worked out. I didn't really remember why. I remember just being a little irritated and just never talking to him again. And we ended up going to a similar documentary. A lot of people I know are going to see this documentary in Hollywood, and I ended up needing a ticket. So on Facebook, I sent a message asking him for a ticket. He's posted the extras, and kind of ended up sort of turning into almost a date-ish. He ended up paying for my ticket, which I didn't anticipate, and he offered to pick me up, which, me not having to drive in LA, I'm not complaining. So, and I'd known him for years. So we went out and we hung out, although we were with probably over 30 people that we mutually knew, so I didn't think a whole lot of it. And then he kept saying, we should hang out, we should hang out. So I was like, okay, that's fine. He's a nice guy. And Sunday after church, he actually invited me to go out to lunch. And I'd recently gotten back from a trip, and he chose a restaurant based on my trip, which I thought was very sweet. And he came to pick me up, and we went. And within the first 15 minutes, so we had just ordered food, we were sitting there. And granted, I had known him for a long time. We know a lot of people, very similar backgrounds, interests. He basically asks me, so how serious are you? So are you looking for a long-term relationship, basically marriage, or are you, and for me, it just it felt a little awkward for me because it was in the first 15 minutes of our technically first date, considering maybe I'd see him once a year beforehand, so it was a little bit much to begin with. However, I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and I thought, okay, he just wants to, see where I'm headed or where I'm going. I said to him, yeah, of course I'm looking to settle down, however, it's really got to be the right person. So we're sitting and, talking, and there's lunch and the food's good, and we're just sitting, and he's very pleasant, and he seems very, very obviously interested, and so, which of course is a good feeling. And so we're sitting there, and at some point he asked me, when you have kids, will you raise them in the church? And I thought to myself, wow, kids already, huh? Date number one, why don't we find out what my favorite color is first, right? I was like, okay, again, I answered the question, thinking, let me give the guy the benefit of the doubt. Didn't want to take it too far to just discount him so quickly. So he invited me to go out to the beach with him, where his friends are, where his family is, and I declined because I had a lot to do that day and said another time. So during the week, he would text or email, and he invited me to go to a concert during the week, and I said no because I just not a big concert fan and just didn't want to go. And Saturday night, he was like, I have, tickets if you want to go to the Hollywood Bowl. I was like, it sounds like fun. It sounds like a dream date. We'll go have lunch, hang out on the beach, go to the Hollywood Bowl. It just sounds like great, typical, or not typical, but the great Southern California date. So he comes to pick me up, which is completely out of his way. And we drive out to Malibu. We have a great lunch at a little place. And as we were sitting there, he kept asking me, so how come it didn't work out before, years ago when we'd gone out, once? And I thought to myself, I don't know. I didn't really honestly remember. He said, I remember calling you, and you didn't call me back. And I thought to him, I don't remember not calling you back. And then I was like, I don't know. And he's like, oh, it wasn't the right time then, but it's the right time now. I'm like, okay, the right time. I didn't know it was right or wrong. However, okay. So we're driving down PCH. So again, we're a couple hours into our second date. And he asks me, he says, this is going to tell me a lot about you. He was like, so are you going to pick the ring? Do you want to pick the ring when you get engaged? And I was like, dear God, again, we're 2 hours into I'm picking the ring now. I was like, well, it felt like a very awkward question. Again, I was like, no, not really. I don't really want to have anything to do with that. And then he says to me, and this will tell me a lot about you too. How many people are you going to invite to your wedding reception? And I was like, I don't know. That would depend on the kind of wedding. There's a lot of, I don't know. Although I had been engaged once before, so I told him based on that number, although who knows what would happen in the future. So I just didn't know how to take that. So we go to the beach and we hang out, and I just felt like he was being too close, and probably because I was a little turned off at that point. However, we ended up going to the Hollywood Bowl, and as we're sitting there eating our, packed lunch or packed dinner, he asks me, so do you plan to cook for your kids when you have, I was like, oh dear, seriously, we're on a second date. And it was just, he kept telling me, I'm just so into you. And I was like, this guy is planning our wedding. I was like, dear God, if I wanted to get married in 6 months to a year, here he is in his black Mercedes on a silver platter. I could have it all right here, right now. And I was like, No, I'm good. Because you know what? It didn't feel like it was about me. Like he's doing the marriage interview. I want to get married. I am this age and it's time just to get married. And gentlemen, some women may fall for that. However, personally, if you don't know me and it's not about me, no thank you. I am not going to fit the image or the picture of whatever you have in your head and just go from there. So if a woman is jumping on you because you're talking about marriage on a first or second date, a little bit of a red flag for you guys. And women, when a guy is doing the same thing, it just feels a little desperate. If you don't know me, don't talk to me about marriage. Seriously? Oh my God, seriously. At the end of the date, he said to me, I don't want to let you go. Again, he did not get to kiss me. I just don't want to let you go. And I was like so relieved to go home into my own house, in my own bed, because I just was done with that. And so, again, I had a little conversation with him and let him know. And he was really surprised. I didn't want to go out with him again. And I was very clammed up during the date, and I just didn't know how to respond to his very obvious marriage advances. So it was a little much. And so, gentlemen, ease up on the marriage talk. Give it a month before you go there. Seriously. You can check out these stories at omgseriously.com.